Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to our series of CBAP style practice questions. The video is going to be on questions 31 to 40. And please note that they are all aligned with the business analysis book of knowledge. That's the BABOK guide. My name is Harry Medusha, and this series is focused on helping business analysts develop the judgment and mindset needed to pass the CBAP exam and also the ECBA exam. So it's not just about memorizing, but understanding why each answer is right and why the answer is wrong. The best way to use this material or this video is to pause before each answer, select your option, and then compare your reasoning with the BABOK based explanation that I provide. And if this series is helping you in preparing for your CBAP or ECBA, please like the video and also subscribe. What this does, it will help YouTube to recommend this content to more analysts preparing for the exam and also hoping to be better business analysts. Okay, let's move on to our next question. Question 31. A business analyst is preparing to elicit requirements for an enterprise collaboration solution. So let me get my pen quickly. Is planning to elicit, doing elicitation, is preparing for it for an enterprise collaboration solution involving multiple business units. So we have multiple business units to reduce resistance and encourage meaningful engagement. What organizational factor should the business analyst understand in advance? So this question is just talking about what should the BA consider when planning on eliciting requirements for multiple stakeholders. You also need to note that this needs to be done in a way to reduce resistance and encourage meaningful engagement. So take note of that reduce resistance. I think it's going to be an important element in this question. Option A, governance structures. Yeah, governance structures describe the formal decision authority, but it doesn't really talk about the day-to-day influence and managing resistance and encouraging engagement. So I will just put a dot at that for now. Resource distribution, no, it can't be resource distribution. If you're trying to reduce resistance, I'm just going to say no to resource distribution. Number C, informal relationships. Yes, this is a very good option. And the reason is because informal relationships affect and influence how people perceive the project, perceive the business analyst, and their willingness to have discussion. So I would say this is a very good option. Let's look at the last option, D, operating model complexity. Not really. I would not really go towards that operating model because that affects the design, not necessarily stakeholder dynamics. So I would say no to that. For option A, I will also say no. So the right answer is informal relationships. And the reason, like I said before, is that informal relationships determine stakeholders' behavior, communication, and how much they are willing to adopt the solution. So I hope you got A, but let's see what answer is. Yes, the answer is C. Awesome. Informal relationship. So I hope you got that answer. So let's move to the next question. 31. A business analyst is facilitating a requirements review session for a customer relationship for a new customer relationship management system where data migration requirements are identified. So data migration requirements are identified as highly volatile due to ongoing changes in data sources. Okay. The technical architect recommends postponing these requirements. So the technical architect wants those requirements postponed to a later phase, while the sales director emphasizes their urgency for enabling business functions, for enabling key business functions. So the technical architect wants it postponed. The sales director says we need to urgently review them. Okay. How should the BA address the prioritization of these volatile requirements to ensure project stability while considering stakeholder input. So the whole meat of the question is, how do we prioritize volatile requirements? That's requirements that are prone to changes. Okay, option A, postpone prioritization of these requirements. I would not say that. Postponing prioritization just suggests delaying the prioritization. So it is not answering the question. It is not solving the problem. So I'll say no to that. Exclude these requirements from the current scope. Excluding them from this current scope is based on what the sales director is saying. You don't want to do that because that's an important stakeholder, and that might potentially undermine the CRM system. So I would say no to that. Set a high priority to meet the sales director's needs. This looks like a good option, but setting a pri- setting a high priority based on the sales director's need is also ignoring the technical architect's recommendation, because we actually have sets of requirements that are volatile. So it's like just ignoring the volatility, where how volatile those requirements are. So I'll put a dot at this. Let's see the last option. Assign a lower priority to reduce the risk of rework and inefficiency. I will go with this. I will go. So if option D was not there, I would have gone with C. But because it is there, I will go with D. I will go with D. And the reason why I will go with D is that the BABOK, that's Business Analysis Book of Knowledge, does advise us why prioritizing requirements, that if we ever have unstable requirements, they should be given a lower priority to minimize rework and wasted effort. And you need to look at the BABOK for that. So remember, this exam is not necessarily the way you'd have done it in the office. It is how the BABOK recommends that you do that. And you'll find this in, I think it's page 89 on prioritizing requirements. So you can look that up, but the most appropriate answer is D. It might not work necessarily that way at your workplace, but remember, this is an exam and you must follow what the BABOK has stipulated. So let's check what the answer is. Good. The answer is D. I hope you got that answer. Like I always say, don't get discouraged. If you didn't get that answer, it's a good sign. It just shows that this is an opportunity for you to reinforce the right knowledge. Let's move to question 33. An organization launches a technology enhancement project projected to increase annual revenue by $109,620,000, non-compounded over 5-year period. Okay. The project's initial investment is $250,000 with additional maintenance of $10,000 in each of the second through fifth years. What is the expected return on investment for this initiative over 5 years? Okay, good question. Now, if you check the BABOK, the formula for return on investment is is the benefits, or your total benefits, minus your total cost divided by your total cost. Now, if you want this as a percentage, then you multiply by 100%. So you multiply by 100. So from this question, you will see that your total benefits is an annual revenue of, yeah, so your total benefit is 109,620 times 5. Remember, it is over 5-year period. And this should give you, let me see if I can get my calculator. Do that. That will give you 109,620 times 5. Awesome. So that will give you 548, 548, 100. Now, what is our total cost? Our total cost is 250,000. So I'll put TC. Our total cost is 250,000 plus, remember that we have an annual maintenance of 10,000 in each year from the second to the fifth year. So the first year, we don't have that maintenance fee. So it's going to be 10,000 times 4. That's the second year, third year, fourth year, and the fifth year. And that will be give us 40,000. So 250,000 plus 40,000 will be $290,000. And then we'll divide by our total cost, which is $290,000 again. Okay, awesome. So if you say 548,100 minus 290,000 divided by 290,000, $90,000, what you would get is the percentage that you would get will be, where's my calculator again? That will be 88.9. So you can cross check that in your calculator, and that will be an approximate value of 89%. So let's look at the answers. A, 71% no. B, 89% yes. Should be 89% because if you approximate this 0.9, it should give you 89%. 62% no. 95% no. So the right answer is that. So remember, the formula for return on investment is total benefits minus total cost over total cost times 100%. So that's that. Let's look at the answer. The answer is B. Awesome. I hope you got that. Now, the CBAP is not full of calculations, but sometimes you could have calculation, and it's good to be ready for that when they come. Let's move to the next question. A business analyst is analyzing the outcome of a recent organizational change project, noting a specific performance matrix. The scheduled performance matrix, that's the scheduled performance index, XPI, was recorded at 0.87, okay, indicating a delay. To address this, three team members worked additional hours to bring the actual progress in line with the planned timeline. What type of action does this response represent? Okay, so the question is talking about SPI. SPI is the Schedule Performance Index. And what is the Schedule Performance Index? The Schedule Performance Index is just a matrix. It's under the end value. It's called under the end value. And it is just end value management. And it's just a way of providing objective ways to track the health of our project. So, and the SPI is equals to the end value over the planned value. Okay, but I'm not going to go too much detail into that. It is not necessary for the CBAP exam. What I need you to take note of that anytime the SPI is less than 1, then there is a delay. Anytime the SPI is greater than 1, then in terms of schedule, we are doing really, really well. In terms of schedule, we are doing really well. And that's the project is ahead of schedule. Anytime it is equals to 0, then anytime it is equals to 0, then we are on schedule. So if you notice here, you don't have to know all this formula. Just notice that there is a delay. If there is a delay and three members help us to get back on track, what kind of action does this represent? Number A option, corrective. I believe this is corrective. Why? Because the delay has already happened. So we are trying to correct something that already happened. So don't be thrown up by all these calculations I gave. You don't really need them. The main thing is that there was a delay and we're able to correct that delay. Answer B, proactive, no. The delay had happened, so it cannot be this. Enhancement, no. And collaborative, no. So the answer is corrective. Let's see what the answer is. A. Awesome. Great job. Great job. We've gotten this far. We're on number 34. We've answered 4 questions now. So let's move to the next one. A team of business analysts is tasked with assessing a proposed initiative to streamline customer service operations, which will involve multiple stakeholders, which will involve multiple departments and is expected to yield a significant operational efficiencies valued at $500,000 annually. The initiative requires executive approval to proceed, and the BAs need to lay the groundwork for a compelling proposal. What should the BA prioritize as their first step to build a strong foundation? So you see, we are still in proposal stage. We are not, the project has not started. So I need you to take note of that. Remember, it's a proposed initiative. So what should be the first step for the BA? A, map the organizational hierarchy. Yeah, map the organizational hierarchy. It's important, but there has to be uh, something better. So I will just put this at this for now. Develop a business case. I like the business case. Remember, the business case is that document that justifies the initiative. So it is a proposal to it's a proposal that helps to show the importance and the need for that project. So that's a very good option. Outline the implementation roadmap. No, this initiative has not even started. The project has not started, so we're not talking about implementation right now. Um, Assess the financial projections. Yeah, yes, yes, but we have a stronger answer, which is the business case. The business case will also cover the financial projections. So the right answer is B. Let's see. Awesome. The answer is B. So I hope you got that. Please, if you're liking what we are doing, just to encourage us to do more and also to get more views to see this, I would really appreciate if you can like and subscribe and also share with your friends that are preparing for this exam so they can come try out these questions too and learn. So let's look at question 36. We are halfway through. Let's go through the next half. A multinational logistics organization plans to assess employee perceptions of workplace safety policies across 40 distribution centers located in different countries. Okay, so we have multiple stakeholders in multiple countries. Management wants consistent, quantifiable input while minimizing disruption to daily operation. So management doesn't want us to disrupt business operation while we are also able to get information. Okay. So which elicitation technique should the business analyst use? A structured interview with selected site supervisors. Because they are interviews, it means you have to take out from their operational time. And please take note, it says minimal disruption to the business operations. So for this, I would say no for now. Let's go on. Job shadowing at representative facilities. Now, you have two types of job shadowing. Active, two types of job shadowing or observation. You have active and passive. Both of them will need you to engage or at least to be there, to be present with that particular stakeholder. So for now, I would say I'll just put a dot here for now. Let's see. Because it doesn't state what kind of observation, whether it's active or passive. Anonymous questionnaires or surveys distributed electronically. Yes. So anonymous questionnaires, definitely. I think I like this because people can fill it at their own convenience, and you don't really have to go there to disrupt that person's work. Collaborative workshops, no, this will mean having meetings. So I will go with C because it's anonymous, it's a survey. Remember, all your stakeholders are in 40 different distribution centers, and with surveys you can engage them, and with surveys you can engage a large geographically dispersed group. So that would be the right answer. Let's see. C. Awesome. C. I hope you got that. So remember that um, we need something that will minimize disruption and that we can send to all the stakeholders in different areas. So let's go to question 37. An organization has transitioned a long running vendor partnership to an internal support model. Okay. Senior leadership asks the business analyst to evaluate how well stakeholders work together during the transition. So the BA needs to assess how well stakeholders work together during the transition and capture recommendations for improving future collaboration in future initiatives. What technique should the BA use? Perform stakeholder influence analysis. Not really. Remember, the the engagement has already happened. So we just want to capture recommendations and figure out exactly how they work together. So it cannot be stakeholder influence analysis. Update the stakeholder engagement approach. Remember, initiative has happened, so it cannot be about the approach. It cannot be about updating or performing. We are trying to see what worked, and yeah. So C, analyze lessons learned perfectly. So analyze lessons learned. I believe that would be the answer because lessons learned are used after an initiative has happened to evaluate customer satisfaction, collaboration effectiveness, and identify improvements. The last option, which is D, is conduct organizational modeling. No, this is just outright wrong. So the right answer is analyze lessons learned. Awesome. See, so if you, like I said, if you didn't get that answer, that is why you are reviewing this. You're getting yourself better at answering these questions and don't get discouraged. While planning the delivery sequence for a reporting solution, a business analyst identifies that one data transformation requirement must be completed before several analytic features can be developed. As a result, the BA assigns this requirement a higher priority than others. What factor directly influence this prioritization? Okay. Dependencies. Um, the first answer is dependency. Yeah, dependency. I will say dependency because remember, these analytics features cannot be done until the data transformation requirement is done. So the analytics features are dependent on the data transformation. So let's look at we assume business value. Not really, not really, not necessarily. Um, say no to that. Regulatory compliance, the question did not say anything about regulatory compliance, so that's a no. Stakeholder urgency, no. It's just based on dependencies. So what you need to watch out for is must be implemented before. If you see the statement must be implemented before or a prerequisite or cannot proceed until then, that will be a dependency. Let's see the answer. Awesome. The answer is A. I hope you got that. We have two more questions. Let's move on. A business analyst is supporting a complex initiative and needs to organize a large volume of related information into meaningful groupings to better understand the relationship and gaps. The BA wants a technique that visually structures ideas around central themes and support classification. What technique should the BA use? Item tracking? No, it's not item tracking. Item tracking is used to monitor the status of work items, not to organize or classify. So that's a no. Brainstorming? No. Brainstorming is used to generate ideas. We are looking for something. The question is talking about something we can visually use to structure ideas around certain themes. So it's not brainstorming. Mind mapping, exactly. The mind map is used to visually organize information by grouping related concepts around a central idea. The last option is observation, which is not. So the answer is mind map. Remember, mind map again is used to visually organize information by grouping related concepts around central ideas. Okay, so let's look at the last question. Yes, the answer is C. Awesome. Let's look at the last question. Question 40. Well done for getting this far. Well done, well done. Following a customer feedback campaign, a software provider has compiled a long list of enhancement suggestions for an existing product. Before performing detailed analysis or estimation, the BA must narrow the list So only those ideas that are appropriate for the upcoming release. Okay, so you need to narrow it to what's appropriate for the new release. What consideration should the BA apply to screen these suggestions? So we have a long list of suggestions and we need to narrow it down to the necessary suggestions. Number one, or number A, estimated development effort. Yes, estimated development effort is one way to do that, but in this case, I don't think is the most appropriate for this upcoming release. So I'll just put a dot at that. Let's look at other options. Expected impact to customer measures. I like that. Remember, one way of gauging the success of a project is not just by saying that the project was timely, it met the budget, and it met the scope or requirements. Customer satisfaction is so key because you can meet all these project constraints and yet the customer is not satisfied. So customer satisfaction is really, really key. And if you're going to um, narrow down a list or prioritize a needs, customer satisfaction is important. Number C, speed of delivery to the market. While that is important, customer satisfaction outweighs that. So I'll say no to that. I'll say no to A. And D, availability of resources. This might be important, but doesn't really answer the questions. So filtering ideas based on their alignment with customer satisfaction ensures that proposed enhancement directly supports stakeholder value before assessing cost, effort, delivery, and timing. So um, this is the right answer, number B. So let's see. Awesome. We got that answer number B. So that's a very good one. Congratulations. We got to the end of the question, and this wraps up our CBAP practice 31 to 40. If some of these questions challenged you, it's a good sign. CBAP is designed to test your judgment and reasoning and not just the speed or memorization. Take a note or take a moment to review why the incorrect options were wrong, because that's where most mistakes are made. And if this video supported or is supporting you, please do well to like and subscribe and also share with your friends preparing for the exam. It helps this series to reach more analysts who are preparing for this exam. I will see you in the next set of questions 41 to 50. Thank you. See you later. Bye bye.